And I would like for Jill Flanders and John Stimmel to join me up here, please. I had the honor of going to a Heroes Memorial in Connecticut in December, and these two fine people joined me there. And I just want to tell you that since 1982, NAESP has presented awards to selected individuals in recognition of distinguished service to children or to education. Those awards are made at the discretion of the Board of Directors, and typically honorees are recognized and presented their award at the National Conference of NAESP. Past recipients of the NAESP Award for Distinguished Service have included Ernest L. Boyer, Hillary Rodham Clinton, Barbara Pierce Bush, Dr. Jonas Salk, the Honorable Richard W. Riley, Dr. Benjamin S. Carson, and Senator Edward M. Kennedy. When the Board of Directors met after the incident at Sandy Hook Elementary, overwhelmingly, along with Executive Director Gail Conley and Ernie Menino, we wanted to recognize Principal Dawn Hochsprung. And these folks joined me in a memorial there, and it was a very emotional day, probably the most emotional day I had the entire year. It was an honor to go and represent you and the rest of the principals across the nation. I didn't personally know Dawn, but standing in line, it was a long line of townspeople, educators, teachers, kids, board members. It was, if you were there as a principal, you knew her. She was you. She was a servant leader. It was an emotional day. In fact, I was asked by a reporter if I thought other principals would do the same. It kind of dumbfounded me. I said, yes, teachers, principals, custodians, bus drivers. I don't know anybody that works in a school that wouldn't lay down their life for a child. And it really just kind of shocked me that they would ask that. It's what we do. Dawn epitomized the deep caring and commitment principals have for kids. She serves as a model for all of us. Our board wants to honor that love and sacrifice Dawn demonstrated. So if I could have Regina Birdsell, Assistant Executive Director for Elementary Programs and Services for the Connecticut Association of Elementary School Principals, come up. And if I could have Ernie Menino and Gail Conley please come up here, please. Regina, on behalf of the NAESP Board of Directors and school principals everywhere, please accept on behalf of Dawn Hochsprung the NAESP Distinguished Service Award. Regina, thank you so much.
Good morning. On behalf of Dawn's family, on behalf of Connecticut principals, and on behalf of principals and educators everywhere, we thank you for this award. You've heard much of the heroism of Dawn, but did you know she was a leader from the very start? Dawn was one of 4 revolutionary women that became the first 4 female class officers of their high school, and they were re-elected as officers throughout their 4 high school years. A first for that community. She was the captain of her swim team as well as her track team. Dawn was a fun-loving person who exemplified the spirit of team and personified the qualities of leadership. How do I know? She was best friends with my cousin. They were fellow class officers and co-captains of the swim team. I was so fortunate that I knew Dawn then, and we reconnected again when she became a principal, attending many of the activities of the Connecticut Association of Schools. In December, I remember standing in line for hours at her wake. In the cold and the wind, The line went on forever. No one complained or left that line. The long line turned into a gathering. People introduced themselves to one another and shared Dawn stories. We cried, we laughed, we were so proud of her. People came from all corners of the country, some who knew her, others who just wanted to share their respect. Luminaries lit the path that went on for over a mile. Such a moving tribute. How do we measure the life and impact Dawn's life has had on others? As a mom, a grandmother, an educator, and a principal. From her very last action or choice to the profound legacy she has bequeathed us, Dawn's last act spoke volumes to her as a principal. As we leave here and move on to preparing our schools for a new year, let us keep Dawn in our forefront. When we need to make those tough decisions, let's reflect, let us remember, and let the following statement guide us doing the right thing. Please leave here with these 4 words to guide you. What would Dawn do? Thank you.
Regina, we certainly want you to carry back to Connecticut the wishes of all principals, because we know our hearts and minds on that day in December. We were there in spirit, and we've certainly thought many times how that could be any of us at any time. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that at the same board meeting in the Board of Directors in February, the board was unanimous about the need to establish some type of memorial at NAESP headquarters which honor fallen educators and serve as permanent recognition for their sacrifice and service. Following considerable discussion and NAESP staff research, the board agreed on a sculpture called the Tree of Life, which will be handcrafted and delivered to NAESP this fall. At this time, if we have it, we would like to display for you the artist's depiction of the Tree of Life. It may be difficult to see the trunk, which is comprised of the interwoven bodies of children or angels, which leads to a large blossom of leaves. There are 150 leaves on this tree. On the leaves is where the names of those to be memorialized are to be engraved. NAESP will work with our state affiliates over the coming months to solicit names of those educators from their state for the Tree of Life Memorial. Lastly, the Tree of Life does not have a formal name yet. We are still working on that part of it. However, the completed structure with a name is scheduled to be complete and delivered to NAESP in time for display at this year's National Distinguished Principals Celebration in October. I don't know about you, but I'm leaving this morning a different person and a different principal than when I came in.